Let's talk about one of the most baffling locked room mysteries you'll ever hear about. Seriously, imagine this. A man checks into a hotel, he goes into his room, and by the next morning, he's just gone. The crazy part? The room was locked from the inside. So how on earth is that even possible? Let's break this whole thing down.
This right here is the puzzle that absolutely stumped investigators. When the hotel staff finally got into room 914, everything of Daniel Harper's was there, but he wasn't. And the security latch, the little metal flap you flip over when you're in for the night, it was engaged. It looked like an absolutely impossible crime scene.
So let's quickly run through the timeline because it's so deceptively simple. Daniel Harper checks in, and at 7:26 p.m., his keycard is used to open his door. Now that is the very last time any keycard, his or anyone else's, was officially recorded opening that door. The next morning, he doesn't check out, and that's when the whole mystery kicks off.
So you can imagine, investigators were faced with what they started calling the impossible room. They had a missing guy who was supposedly inside a room that was for all intents and purposes completely sealed. There was just no evidence showing how he could have possibly gotten out. And every piece of evidence they found just made things more confusing. The security latch was on, which suggested he had to be inside, but the room was empty. His phone, his wallet, even his passport, all left behind. So he didn't just decide to leave. The window, locked tight. No balcony, no signs of a struggle. It was a perfect, baffling contradiction.
Right away, the two most obvious theories were just completely off the table. He couldn't have walked away, not without his wallet and passport. And since the window on the 9th floor was securely locked from the inside, there was no way he fell or jumped. No, investigators knew right then that something much, much more clever was going on.
The case felt like a total dead end until digital forensics started digging. They found the first real cracks in the story. When they looked closer at Daniel's phone and the supposed reason for his trip, it became clear this was no ordinary business trip at all.
And this was the first huge break. At 11:48 p.m., that's hours after he first went into the room, this text pops up on his phone from a number they didn't recognize. "Are you in yet?" Now, the message had been deleted, but forensics pulled it back. Someone was waiting for him or planning to meet him late that night.
And then, boom, this came out. The business meeting, the entire official reason for his trip, had actually been canceled 2 days before he even flew to Chicago. And he never told his family. So, the big question became, why was Daniel Harper really in Chicago? And who was he secretly there to meet? This discovery changed everything. See, the hotel's digital computer system only showed one keycard entry. But a deep forensic analysis of the physical lock itself, the metal mechanism, found these tiny, microscopic scratches left behind by a second, totally unregistered card. A clone. And just like that, the case went from a weird missing person file to a full-blown criminal investigation.
The key to solving this whole thing wasn't in the lobby or the hallways. It was hidden, literally behind the walls, inside a secret part of the hotel's own architecture that only a very, very small number of people would ever know was even there. This is what's called a service corridor. Think of it like a secret hallway that runs behind all the guest rooms. Maintenance crews use it to get to plumbing and wiring. And here was the hotel's fatal flaw. This corridor had 0 cameras. It was a complete blind spot, a hidden highway cutting right through the building.
So this lays out exactly how they did it. The perpetrator gets into that service corridor, finds the maintenance hatch for room 914, which was hidden behind the bathroom mirror, and just slips inside. No keycard needed, no hallway cameras to worry about. The entry and the exit happened through a secret door.
Once investigators knew about this hidden passage, they could finally piece together exactly how the illusion of this impossible crime was staged so perfectly.
The illusion was a room locked from the inside. But the reality? Well, the perpetrator simply left through that maintenance hatch, reached back into the room, and flipped the security latch before closing the panel behind them. A perfectly staged scene. Daniel Harper didn't vanish into thin air. He was taken out through the service corridor. And the lack of camera footage wasn't a mystery. It was all part of the plan.
So who would have this kind of specific, insider knowledge? It had to be someone on staff. It was Marcus Hale, a maintenance worker at the hotel. His job gave him access to the building's blueprints, the tools, and most importantly, the knowledge of the hotel's hidden architecture, all the blind spots that security and guests would never even think to check.
It turns out the motive was a robbery that went terribly wrong. Daniel was tricked into coming to the hotel for what he thought was some kind of private deal, but it was all a setup. When things got violent, Marcus Hale used his insider knowledge to get the victim out and stage the room. That whole locked room mystery, it was just a brilliant tactic to buy himself time and throw the police off his trail.
In the end, the Daniel Harper case wasn't solved by picking a lock or finding a secret message. It was solved by discovering a hidden door. And it leaves you with a pretty chilling question, doesn't it? In our world of security cameras and digital key cards, how much of our safety relies only on what we can see while completely ignoring the dangers that might be hiding just on the other side of the wall?